Kaidi, good evening. We know that 2 people were shot, 3 people were injured and taken to the hospital, and that police are confirming at this hour. Times Square has totally thinned out. Mass crowds of people were running for the scene just before 5 o'clock. In fact, just before my photographer and I went live on another story at 5 o'clock, we saw crowds of people running north on 7th Avenue from 46th Street up into 47th to 48th. What happened? We heard a shooting is what they told us, and about 10 minutes later, another crowd of people running from the scene, another shooting. Police are investigating this. There is heavy police presence here. At one point, my photographer and we also had to take cover. We headed north because we weren't sure exactly what happened. We do know that 2 people were shot in the torso area. Police say, again, 3 people taken to the hospital. We know a female and a child. They were both shot in the torso. It's unclear of their relationship at this time, but unconfirmed reports say it was a mother-daughter. Ages are unknown at this time. So 47th, that is exactly behind me at the TKTS booth. That is blocked off south into 43rd. There's a lot of traffic delays. Again, heavy police presence. And the people we spoke with who actually witnessed the shooting that is now under investigation are just horrified.
That was very scary. Like I said, I have a family with me. We was all there. They said kids got shot. And like I said, we went that way fast as we could, we went. And I see it's pretty calmed off, so we can get back in our hotel. Hopefully we can get in there. I don't know yet, not. We got to make it back down that way.
So that was within time span of about an hour. That man we spoke with, he was a tourist. He was visiting New York City with his family, coming to the heart of tourism, the heart of the world when it comes to tourism here in Times Square. Times Square now on lockdown, and that tourist and other people who are just wondering exactly what happened and what is going to happen, they are frightened. We do know behind me, again, the TKTS booth is right behind me on 47th and 7th. That area now is blocked off, and it continues to be blocked off through Times Square south till about 43rd. So between 43rd and 45th, those streets are blocked off. You're being asked to avoid this area at all costs. That's the obvious, because there are going to be heavy delays at this point. This shooting is very much under investigation. We're told the shooter is still not in police custody. There's going to be a press conference coming up later on this evening. Of course, our team will keep you posted right here on Pix 11 News. The irony, Kaidi, of it all, my photographer and I were doing a story on tourism. We were talking about tourism pop-up vaccine sites. And we decided to come to Times Square because, as I mentioned moments ago, this is the heart of tourism. Times Square, that's what you think of.
Exactly.
And then we set up for our live shot, and that is when the shooting came out. So it's just unbelievable, really, is what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's terrifying, and it's terrible. And you were saying that even you and the cameraman felt like you had to go on, go seek cover. What happened there? How did you do that?
Absolutely. So our live truck is directly to our right, and when we saw the first group of people running, they look like maybe high school age. So I was just thinking, oh, maybe they're running from like a dance, or maybe they had an event and they're all being rowdy. We're like, what happened? What happened? And then that's when they said, there was a shooting, there was a shooting. And my photographer, I looked at each other, and we were about to go live at 5 o'clock on that other story, and we just started heading north. We're like, whoosh, because your instincts kick in, you can't stand here. And then moments later, police just came to the scene. They started blocking off roads. And at this hour, I can report it is much quieter than it was even an hour ago.
All right, Rebecca, and I also want to clarify one point. The way you described it, it sounds as though there was one shooting that involved a mother, perhaps a mother and a child. And then there was a separate shooting. Were they connected in any way, or do police are they still investigating that?
Yeah, it's unclear why there was a second group of people that went running. I'm under the impression that it was one shooting that happened first, and then another one that happened. It was approximately 5 to 10 minutes later, I would say, when that second group of people we saw running from Times Square. But I think that would be the unconfirmed reports of the mother-daughter shooting. Police can confirm 2 people were shot. So I believe it was the one shooting followed by another one moments later. And then again, a third person taken to the hospital for injuries. Condition of that person unknown at this time.
All right, Rebecca, thank you so much for that. And again, we'll get back to you when you have more information, especially after that news conference.
Katie, Times Square is now officially on lockdown. Horrifying moments in this mecca of tourism as people have just been gathering and running away from the apparent shooting that happened around 44th and 7th just before 5 o'clock this evening. We were actually moments getting ready to go live for our 5 o'clock live shot when we saw crowds of people running from the heart of Times Square heading north on 7th up towards 45th, 46th Streets. And they were mass people running away from what is this apparent shooting that now police are investigating, saying at least 2 people were shot. We know a toddler was shot. Apparently another person was shot. Unconfirmed reports of the relationship between the two, possibly a mother-daughter. Those reports are unconfirmed at this time, but certainly the people that I'm talking to here in Times Square tell me it was horrifying. They heard the gunshots. My photographer and I, we were about to go live. We did not hear any gunshots while the shooting apparently happened again just before 5 o'clock this evening, but we were aware of the situation and we've been pushed back another block. We wanted to get on the air and go live to give you the information as it becomes available. It is absolutely horrifying because just about 10 minutes after the first crowd of people we saw running north on 7th, another wave of people started running for their lives because apparently another shooting happened, and that is where the reports of 2 shooting comes into play. So we are following this story very closely at this time. Again, Times Square, Kaidi, it is on lockdown, and now we are just getting word that indeed 3 people were transported to the hospital. So the numbers are changing. We are learning this is certainly a developing story in a place where hundreds of people have now gathered because this is indeed Times Square here in the nation's largest city. So we're following this very closely. The scene is surrounded by police. There are several blocks that are blocked off at this time. There's going to be traffic delays. And it's just absolutely horrifying as we're learning more information about what's happening. But right here, Kaidi, on this street, to my left, we've just seen people running as more gunshots continue to erupt here in Times Square. Kaidi.
It is really hard to wrap your mind around. I see that there are groups of people standing behind you, and you say there is a lockdown. What does that entail, this lockdown?
All right. Sure. So if you see 45th and 7th Street, you can see they've put the barricades up there. People are allowed to be where I'm standing right now, but anywhere, I'm sorry, on 47th, I should say, that's 47th, right where the TKTS booth is, the police barricades are up right now. So people who weren't here, just a half an hour ago, they're walking as if they didn't know anything had happened, wondering why perhaps the scene is blocked off. But if you were here a half an hour ago, people were just running from that area up towards where I am, just a block above here on between 47th and 48th and 7th Avenue. So it seems like that portion of Times Square is blocked off at this time. But we don't know if any more streets will continue to be blocked off. But police are certainly surrounding the area. We see the sirens going. We hear the choppers overhead, and the apparatus is really just everywhere. And onlookers wondering what indeed is going on here in Times Square.
Wow, and just very, very quickly, did you say a toddler was among those 3 people that we know so far have been shot?
Yeah. Yes, and we're unsure of the exact age of, the toddler, if the toddler was 2 years old, 3 years old, but there are reports that it was a toddler, and at the time we had unconfirmed reports that there was another woman shot, and now we're being told 3 people have been taken to the hospital.
All right, thank you, Rebecca, for that. And please, I know you're going to stay on the scene, and we'll get back to you as soon as you get more information for us. Thank you.